Today on General Hospital, Jason turns to Joss for help. Valentine drops a bomb on Carly, and Jack warns Lulu not to trust Nathan. At Carly's, Jack surprises her with a necklace. An early Christmas gift. He wanted to give it to her before now, but she hasn't been at work, and he wonders what's been keeping her home. She simply says she loves this time of year and likes to get a jump start on decorating. Jack switches the topic to Valentine and wishes Lulu would let him speak to Charlotte about her dad. Carly says she'll tell Lulu she believes he only wants to keep Charlotte safe, and that kiss. Lulu returns home from court, and Nathan says Charlotte's in her room, and all has been quiet. Lulu thanks him for being such a good friend. Lulu admits she fears Valentine will show up sooner or later, and Charlotte will go with him, and she won't be able to stop her. Nathan relays that he has had several conversations with Charlotte, and that she mentioned her mom had been very understanding about the Valentine situation. They are interpreted when Jack shows up and asks to speak to Lulu in private. Lulu refuses to talk to him without Nathan present. Jack says he can bring her, and if it comes to it, if she won't let him speak with Charlotte, so Lulu tells him to take her in. Jack warns her that if Valentine gets to Charlotte, she will be hunted down with her father, so what kind of mother would put her daughter in that situation? Lulu insists Charlotte doesn't know where her father is, but Jack knows Valentine will have a way to contact his daughter. Charlotte has been raised to be his accessory, and he wants to save Charlotte from her father. Back at Carly's, Valentine appears as Carly removes Jack's necklace. She informs him that Jack is upset as Lulu won't let him talk to Charlotte, and she believes Jack wants the girl to be safe. Valentine calls it an act and asks how she got involved with Jack in the first place. Carly explains the whole Jason being blackmailed by the FBI storyline, and that she went to Jack for help. Valentine informs her that it was likely Jack who made the evidence the FBI was holding over Jason's head against her vanish. Carly doesn't get it. Why would Jack do that for her when they weren't even dating? Valentine says it was all part of Jack's larger plan and what he could get out of it. And her Britt and Brad go out to eat at Cafe Cherry and order champagne to celebrate their reunion. Brad wants his BFF to spill the details on where she's been over the past 2 years. Britt tells him that she really thought she was going to die after the Hook attack, but instead she was saved and taken out of the country by people who work for her father. They wanted her to work on a cold fusion project, and she lived at this gorgeous resort and was given an experimental drug to keep her healthy. However, there was a catch. Britt says the work they had her doing definitely violates several arms treaties, and she worked in a lab with this wrangler, Pascal, overseeing her. But all the orders came from the top. Jen Sidwell, Brad knows he's Lucas' boyfriend's daddy. She explains she got in trouble when the WSB showed up and she didn't identify them to her bosses and ended up with a bomb strapped to her ankle. That's when Jason came to her rescue. Brad asks if Jason is still in the picture, but she says he just rescued her and brought her back home. Brad asks if any part of her was sad to leave the resort. She says it was beautiful, but still a prison, and her medication happened to arrive in Port Charles when she returned. She is still stuck working for Sidwell and his sleazy accomplice, Pascal. Brad tells her to do whatever she needs to, as he doesn't want to lose her. Anna is meditating in her apartment when Pascal orders her to face the wall so he can bring her lunch. She does as asked, and he brings her a meal, while noting her notebook is full of interesting notes. Trying to figure out where she is, he leaves, and Anna finds something strapped under the tray of food Pascal brought her. Jason shows up at Joss' place and says no one can know he came to ask her for help. He tells her that Britt is in trouble with the people from the Five Poppies, and he needs to know how it all relates to Dalton, Sidwell, and Faison. Joss tells him she can't share anything with him, and people will assume that any intel he's acting on is from her. Jason points out that Britt saved her life twice, and she needs her medication. He says she can trust her. Can she trust Jack? Joss admits she's having a ton of second and third thoughts about working for the WSB, especially with Vaughn gone. Brennan has only one goal, and it involves Sidwell and Faison's project. She and Britt are just tools in his game. Jason swears he's not using her and will always protect her. In court, Alexis again reminds Willow not to react to what she hears on the stand, no matter how troubling. Meanwhile, Dante returns to court and confers with Turner about a problem, and the judge tells Turner to call her first witness. Tracy is called to the stand and asked by Justine to walk them through that night, which she does via flashbacks. Alexis gets a chance to cross-examine, and when Alexis wonders why she drove through a rainstorm to see Drew, Tracy blurts out, "To give him a piece of my mind." Tracy explains she had just learned Drew had her dear friend arrested on trumped-up charges. Alexis asks if she happened to see Willow on the premises. Tracy recalls arguing with Michael about his being there and answers, no. Nina is put on the stand next and forced by Justine to confess to lying and giving Willow a false alibi. Justine asks why she lied, and Nina says to protect her daughter from a witch hunt like this one. During cross-examination, Alexis asks whether Willow asked Nina to lie for her, and Nina says no. She says Willow went along with it to protect her, as she probably thought she shot Drew. Justine asks for a recess, and Michael chats with Curtis about the cops looking into him as a suspect. Michael and Curtis both note that Turner thinks she has a bigger case against Willow. Meanwhile, Alexis confers with Nina, Willow, and Drew that while things are looking their way now, the traffic camera footage could change everything. Dante is called to the stand, and Justine has him go through where they found the murder weapon and that Willow had access to the estate and the gun. The police believe Willow likely was able to sneak onto the estate several times and that she used the gun she stole to shoot Drew. Cell phone records and traffic camera footage place her at the scene of the crime. Justine asks to submit the photos from the camera, but Alexis objects and asks for the original footage. Justine and Alexis approach the bench, and Justine admits the original footage is missing. Alexis says this is a break in the chain of evidence, and digital photos can be manipulated. Alexis objects to the evidence, and the camera zooms in on Nina. The judge sides with Alexis, and the evidence is thrown out. Alexis then cross-examines Dante about why he and the PCPD neglected investigating other suspects and focused on Willow. She points out that Dante, along with 10 other people, lives on the estate, along with staff and ground crew, all of whom had access to the gun. She then turns the topic to Michael, saying he had means, motive, and opportunity to shoot Drew. Brad suggests to Britt that they settle up and get going. She assumes Brad Moneybags was going to pay for this, but Brad says his model boyfriend wiped him out. He hands the check to the doctor, but she says she's no longer a doctor and is broke, too. They realize neither can pay for their meal. In court, Alexis asks Dante whether they ever considered Michael a suspect or whether his ties to his brother precluded him. Justine objects, and Dante steps down. Justine then calls Christina to the stand. At her place, Joss knows Britt must be important to Jason for him to ask her for help. He says she is important to him too and wants to keep them both safe. Joss says she'll always trust him over Jack. At home, Carly tells Valentine that Jack never told her that he destroyed the evidence against her, and he must not have wanted her to think she owed him. He says Jack hasn't told her because he can still use it when it benefits him. At Lulu's, Nathan tells Jack he must not have a warrant as he hasn't arrested Lulu or Charlotte, so he should leave. Jack warns Lulu that she thinks Nathan is a friend, but everyone is dismissing the 7 years Nathan has been missing, and to remember his real last name is Faison. Finally, in her prison, Anna opens the package under the table and finds it's a copy of Faison's book, which he wrote as P.K. Sinclair, a name Peter later used for a book he wrote with the inscription, "For my muse, C."